We are officially terminating the so-called endangerment finding.
President Donald Trump announced on Thursday the repeal of a scientific finding that greenhouse gas emissions endanger human health, marking his most sweeping effort to reverse U.S. action on climate change. Trump also ended federal greenhouse gas emission standards for all vehicles and engines.
We canceled the EPA's totally absurd tailpipe emission standards, which was a disaster for automobile manufacturing, and revoked Biden's emissions waiver that would have allowed California to regulate automobiles for the entire nation.
The move comes after a year of implementing a string of regulatory cuts and other actions in favor of fossil fuel development, hampering the rollout of clean energy. Trump announced the repeal beside EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin and White House Budget Director Russ Vought, a key architect of conservative policy blueprint Project 2025. Trump has said he believes climate change is a, quote, con job, withdrawing the U.S. from the Paris Agreement and killing Biden-era tax credits aimed at accelerating the deployment of electric vehicles and renewable energy.
Mr. Trump is now substituting his expert scientific judgment for that of the world's leading and the country's leading scientists. And he's wrong.
Dan Becker is the director of Safe Climate Transport Campaign at the Center for Biological Diversity.
When the clean car rules are revoked, that will allow automakers to make more gas-guzzling vehicles that guzzle and pollute. So the reality here is that what the president is doing is bad for the climate. It's bad for consumers. It's bad for our health. It's great for the oil industry, which wants to sell you more gas.
The endangerment finding, which the EPA issued in 2009 under then-President Barack Obama, served as the legal basis for federal climate regulations. It led the EPA to take action under the Clean Air Act of 1963 to curb emissions of carbon dioxide, methane, and 4 other heat-trapping air pollutants from vehicles, power plants, and other industries. Its repeal would remove the regulatory requirements to measure, report, certify, and comply with federal greenhouse gas emission standards for cars. It may not initially apply to stationary sources such as power plants. Reuters correspondent Valerie Volkovici said a legal battle is expected to play out.
They might want to have the Supreme Court saying, no, you can't use the Clean Air Act to regulate the auto sector, emissions from the auto sector. But for some other industries, this has become perhaps a headache for them. It's going to lead to a lot of regulatory uncertainty, obviously legal uncertainty, and for companies like utilities that kind of plan things 5 years in advance, this might cause a lot of confusion as to how they proceed.
Former President Obama blasted Thursday's announcement on X, saying that without the endangerment finding, quote, we'll be less safe, less healthy, and less able to fight climate change, all so the fossil fuel industry can make even more money.